Hello guys, it's Mark Newton from the School of Photography here, and we are in the beautiful English countryside in spring. And in this tutorial I'm going to give you some spring photography ideas, some tips, look at the equipment I use, the settings and all things like that. It's absolutely beautiful where we are. We are in a country park. There is bluebells for absolute miles. I'm going to take you to another place where I really want to photograph in a minute over there. We're going to go there, and possibly I might get the drone out as well and do some drone photography. But this is going to be a really fun tutorial. So follow along with me and hopefully you'll get some ideas for your own spring photography. All right, let's go. So when you're looking at bluebells and photographing bluebells, there is always the classic shooting through the bluebells, which I will show you in a minute. But I've got another idea actually. I want to use some of these logs or trees that have fallen into the forest, and I want to use them to lead me into the bluebells, and that's the first idea that we're going to have a go at. So let's go over here. So as you can see, we have got bits of logs and trees and whatever in the forest surrounded by bluebells. I mean, it really is pretty. The sun is coming in and out, so we're getting some flickers of light over these bluebells from time to time. So I'm going to have a go at photographing the bluebells with this tree leading me into them. All right. So actually in this shot, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the bluebells be out of focus in the background and have the log in focus. So I'm going to put it on f2.8, and that is to give me a really shallow depth of field, right? I'm going to try and rest it on here, and the beauty of this camera here is I'm using an Olympus OMD here, and it's got a flip screen, so I can actually flip this screen out and look a bit more clearly at what I want without breaking my back, right? So I'm going to come down here like this. I'm going to focus on the log. That's better. Always try and be a little bit comfortable when you're taking a shot, I'd say. And focus on the log and take this shot. Now that's not looking too bad, but I think it's actually a little bit too shallow. So I'm going to change the aperture. Let's change the aperture to f5.6 and let's take this shot. So what I'm shooting on here, just so that you know, is I'm on aperture priority, because then I can just quickly flick between my f-stops, change the depth of field, and the camera's going to do the rest for me. The shutter speed's coming in around 60th, 80th of a second. Now, hand holding at that speed can give you camera shake, so be careful. Just make sure your camera is nice and steady, or your hands are nice and steady, or use a tripod if you've got one to hand. Right, I'm quite pleased with that idea, but there is some more logs, and I'm going to go and try it on some more logs as well. So we've got this here, which is a big branch that's fell off of a tree and rotting, and it's leading me into the bluebells. So let's see if this is going to make a good shot as well. Again, I think I'm going to go on f2.8 probably for this one. Let's get it a real shallow depth of field. The sun's coming out and it's peeking through the trees and highlighting some of these bluebells, and it's looking absolutely fantastic. So let's give that a go. Let's frame up. I've got the log leading me in to the bluebells, and frame up. That looks all right. Take the shot. That is not bad at all, and that is a f2.8 at 2/50th of a second, ISO 200. Okay, let's move on and take some more shots. So there's one idea. Use logs or fallen bits of tree to lead you into the field of bluebells, and that's a really cool idea. Now what we're going to do is the absolute classic bluebell shot, which is to get a really shallow depth of field with the bluebells showing, and that's really, really cool. We've got the sun's coming out now, starting to flicker through the trees, and that is beautiful because it flickers over the bluebells and kind of illuminates them a bit. And that's what I'm going to try and go for now. So I'm going to get down low. I'm going to zoom in a bit for these shots as well, because that accentuates a shallow depth of field when you zoom in. So you don't necessarily need to have lenses that have got f2.8. Just zoom all the way in on your lens. Your standard kit lens will do the job, and put it on your widest aperture, and you're still going to get really shallow depths of field. So let's have a crack at this. Again, I'm going to get low. I'm going to flip my screen out. Let's get a bit closer. And zoom in a bit further, actually. There we go. Again, I'm on aperture priority. It is, and that's because it's bright enough, and you just got to keep your eye on the shutter speed. Like I said earlier, you've just got to keep your eye on the shutter speed and make sure that it doesn't go below 60th, ideally 125th of a second to avoid camera shake, but you just got to make sure really. So here we go. I'm going to focus on a bluebell, hold the focus point, and then reframe it to how I want. And that is not a bad shot. That's really quite nice, because what you want is some in the foreground that are blurry and some in the background that are blurry. It gives a real sense of depth, and it's just a really cool classic shot. So wide aperture, zoom in, make sure your shutter speed don't go below 125th of a second, and focus, reframe, shoot, get that classic shallow depth of field bluebell shot. So photographing the bluebells is one thing. We love photographing bluebells, but I have come here really for a different reason. I want to photograph this here, and you can just about see it through the trees. Let's go and have a look. So another great thing about spring is that you get fields and fields of rapeseed, and here it is here. It's absolutely beautiful, and we're going to photograph it in a minute. But before I do, I want to tell you about the courses that we run over at the schoolofphotography.com. We are professional teachers. I've been teaching since 2002. I've taught thousands of people across the world photography, and I know I can do the same for you. So if you want to learn photography, Lightroom, Photoshop, studio lighting, anything photography related, come over and see us at the schoolofphotography.com. I promise you it will be the start to better photography. Okay, let's take some more pictures. Okay, so just quickly, as I was looking for pictures, there is a lovely caterpillar here, and I'm going to photograph it. No, it's not. I don't know actually. No, I think it's like a seed or something. I'm going to photograph it anyway. So I'm going to put it on aperture priority, f2.8. I'm going to zoom right in, 40mm focal length. This is a micro 4/3 camera. So 40mm on here, you simply double it to 80. That will give you a full frame equivalent. If you want to learn about sensor sizes, then we've got a whole tutorial on it. I'll put a link, go and have a look at it. And let's photograph this caterpillar. I'm going to try and get a bit of yellow either side of it. Looks like a caterpillar. You get away with it. So what I've done there is I've just framed it with the rapeseed either side. Easy. Oh, there's some bees now floating around, some honeybees. Let's see if I can photograph them. Here we go. Lovely. Yeah, so we've got honeybees flying around for obvious reasons, and I just got another good shot of a honeybee. It was absolutely lovely. I should be on a nature program probably. Right, now let's do the shot that I actually want to do. I know where I want to go for that as well. So this is the shot that I want actually. As you know, obviously we've got these fields going off for miles, but rapeseed is yellow, bright yellow, and obviously the sky is blue. Yellow and blue put together are really nice colours. They're not opposites, they're not quite complementary colours, but they nearly are. Okay, so imagine a colour wheel. You've got blue up there, you've got orange opposite, and yellow just sits off to the side there. So blue and yellow are quite contrasted together, and that's what makes them, you know, really nice colours when they meet. And that's what I'm going to try and do. I'm going to try and get a shot shooting through all of this rapeseed with a nice bit of blue at the top to really enhance that yellow of this flower. Okay, so let's give it a go. Again, I'm going to try with a really shallow depth of field first of all. I'm going to zoom right in as well. 40mm focal length on this micro 4/3, again equivalent of 80mm on a full frame camera. Let's give it a go and see what happens. And there you go. It's as easy as that. You can't really go wrong in a setting like this, to be fair. It's absolutely beautiful, and I'm telling you now, I have been to lots of places all over the world, and the English countryside in spring is absolutely beautiful. It's hard to beat, so make sure you get out there with your camera. Now, here, lots of people will come to a setting like this and do a wide angle shot. And why not? Big open fields of rapeseed plant like this, right? But you don't have to, you know, this is another idea. Zoom in on your cameras and focus in on detail, or shoot through the plants, you know? And there's just another idea for you for spring photography. Now, I'm gonna get the drone out. Now, I don't do much drone photography. In fact, I think I've only ever used this drone once for photography. But I will tell you what settings I'm using it on. So this drone is fantastic, obviously, because it goes to places where you can't go. But you've got a fixed focal range of, I think it's around 28mm on a full frame, like a wide angle. And you've got a fixed aperture as well, which is a wide one. I think it's f2 or something. Again, don't quote me on this, but that's what you've got to work with. But what I want to do is I want to get a shot overlooking this field, all right? I've set it to, it does auto exposure bracketing and it shoots in RAW. So that's what I've set it to, auto exposure bracketing, and it shoots in RAW. So let's move the camera so that it is pointing down on the field. Okay, I'm just going to go up a bit. I'm quite liking these lines, right? So I've got to a height that I want, and there's the lines that go through the field, you know. Well, I don't know what they're for, ask a farmer, but they're lines that go through the field. And I'm going to try and get a shot where they're going diagonal through the frame. That's it, I've got it. Oh, I need to go a bit forward. Finally got it into position. This ain't as easy as you think it is, I can tell you. Right, let's take the shot. Well, even if I didn't get some good shots there, which you would have seen by now anyway, it's bloody good fun to fly a drone. I can tell you that much now. Guys, I really hope that this tutorial has helped you and give you some ideas for some spring photography. If it has, leave us a comment underneath, please let us know. Don't forget to hashtag your photographs, the School of Photography, on social media. So if you do take pictures inspired by this video, hashtag the School of Photography on social media. We'll pick it up. We love seeing your work. We really, really love seeing work inspired by our videos. If it's really, really good, we will share it for you as well, give you a shout out. Like the video, share it with your friends. Like I said, give us a comment. All of these things helps us bring you these tutorials. If you want to learn photography properly in a structured way and save yourself a lot of time, come over and see us at theschoolofphotography.com. Really hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.